Hello and welcome on the Digital Doers, the podcast for e-commerce leaders. Here is a special edition dedicated to the Lengow Day, an e-commerce event held in Paris the 1st of October 2019, bringing nearly 1,000 professionals of the industry. During the event, I recorded a short interview, about 15 minutes, of keynote speakers, Michael Forger for Lengow, Amy Venner from Pinterest, Ilya Chirikov from Joom, Laura Fauduc from Alibaba France, Thomas Métivier from Cdiscount, Ted Etish from Frugo, and Albert Simsensohn from Facebook. Good listening to you, always without cutting and editing. Hello, Albert. Thank you very much for coming on the Digital Doers. You are head of commerce partnerships at Facebook. That's right?
Indeed.
Yeah. Could you please introduce yourself in a few words?
Sure. And first of all, thank you for having me in this on this podcast. I've indeed joined Facebook as looking after the commerce partnerships in EMEA region. I've joined about a year and a half ago. Before that, over the past 10 years, I've done a mix of work in e-commerce, both in transacted marketplaces as well as classifieds marketplaces. And I've also spent a few years in management consulting, primarily focusing on marketing and sales engagements across a variety of industrial sectors.
Okay, always in the UK or?
It was around Europe. So I've spent some time in UK as well at eBay a few years ago.
Okay.
Then I've also spent time in Portugal. And the consulting work, I was based in Romania, which is my home country, though the engagements were all over Europe.
Okay, you are European.
Yes, I've spent time in France, in Luxembourg, Netherlands, everywhere where there was work to be done.
Okay, you have a track record in the digital industry. 1 year and a half, you joined Facebook. Why?
It was a very exciting moment to join the commerce world at Facebook. It is an early stage effort, and it still is. It was even more at the time, and I found that mandate to help drive growth of commerce across the Facebook family of apps very, very exciting and potentially transformative. So that's the primary reason that got me here.
Okay, that's a good one.
Thank you.
What is your mission at Facebook? Because that's a large perimeter for you, all the Europe. What is your mission?
Yeah, so my mission and sort of my team's goals are to drive growth of organic commerce opportunities across the Facebook family of apps. And we do this by partnering with an ecosystem of partners, of companies that can drive the growth of supply side on our shopping services, whether we talk about Facebook Marketplace or Instagram shopping. Our mission is to instigate growth of those services by focusing on the supply side. So that means working with retailers, that means working with professional software companies that cater to specific verticals like autos, real estate, or working with e-commerce platforms that through which multiple retailers and merchants can come on board.
Okay, so for example, do you consider retailers like partner or like client? How do you consider if you speak about growth and you want to onboard more and more retailers? What do you offer to the retailers?
So we offer what we work with them primarily on is opportunity to come and gain additional organic distribution through these surfaces that are available on the Facebook family of apps, which are complementary to the kind of work that they do on ads investment on our platform. So they do some activities on the ads and they get great outcomes, traffic, leads, and so on. And we also have these organic surfaces where they come on board and they interact directly with consumers on a shopping opportunity directly in either Facebook app or Instagram app.
Okay, and do you see differences between the countries in Europe? I mean, in terms of the way they use your services, or all the retailers or all the sellers use in the same way in the UK, in France, in Spain, in Germany, or?
We're at a very early stage right now. We've launched Facebook Marketplace has been launched globally about 3 years ago, and it has been sort of live in the region. It has been traditionally more of a C2C platform. In the same time, a lot of retailers have been starting to use on Instagram. They have started to make use of shoppable tags, though it is still very early stage. If we talk about regional differences, perhaps it's at a too soon to tell stage, given where we are. We'll look forward to learn more the more we go individually in each market over the next years.
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I understand behind your words that you want to introduce the idea of conversation in the way you want to do the commerce. Is that something true or not? Because you can communicate with leaders, with brands, with influencers, with other customers.
Yeah.
Is that something interesting for you?
Yeah, so giving businesses ability to communicate directly with users, and as well for users to get in touch directly with the brands is something very important, and something we've seen them already do even without us providing tailored solutions already on the platforms. Now, of course, if we look at the way commerce happens, maybe in regions like Asia Pacific, conversational commerce is something that's even more widespread, and it's not just on our apps, it's everywhere. So it's a very prevalent form of commerce. But even if you don't look at full transacted commerce that happens on conversational apps there, if you look at our region, we do try to help brands communicate directly with, or retailers communicate with users directly on the platform. Whether it's a conversation they would start on a chat from a Facebook Marketplace listing, that's one option. Also, whether they get in touch with Instagram direct as a communication channel, it's something we try to help them to do.
Okay, and how can you describe the retailer needs or expectations from your platform?
Yeah, I would think more about what is the opportunity for retailers, and it's not something that they don't already do. In the sense of, look, when people think about Facebook, they might not think about commerce as the first thing, but the reality is that commerce has been happening at Facebook from the very beginning.
Okay,
we saw users and brands and businesses coming together and connecting, because this is what Facebook is about, helping people connect with the things they love, whether it's family, friends, but also products, brands and businesses, large and small. So in that sense, commerce has been there from the beginning. What we're now doing, and we're helping businesses by giving them better tools and better processes and better connectivity to be able to do that more at scale.
Okay, and because Facebook is an American company, do you have more traction in the US about this new kind of services, or?
There are a few things that we have launched in US first.
Yes.
And there, to give you an example, earlier last year, we had introduced on Facebook Marketplace an ability for retailers to list products on Marketplace and actually offer a on-platform checkout ability. So people would be able to buy directly on Facebook Marketplace. And earlier this year, we've introduced the same. We've launched on-platform checkout for Instagram shopping. We've started with a small group of retailers that we launched back in March. And since then, we've been expanding that to more retailers. So users can now on Instagram, when they interact with shopping tags from these participating retailers, then rather than getting redirected to an off-platform destination, they can make the purchase right there at the point where they found the item, they've been inspired by it, and they would want to buy it.
Usually, at Facebook, do we see the US like the most mature market, and we try features, new features on the US market, and then you export them in the other part of the world, or can we expect to see something happening in the US, in Europe later?
I mean, as with everything, we start in a particular market and we start building there, and then we look to learn from the earlier stages of the product, and that defines essentially what we do with it later on, whether it is iterating and evolving it in the initial market, or it is then rolling it out to other markets. We do learn a lot from the US market, so a number of things are launched there, but it is not exclusive.
Okay.
Not talking on e-commerce, but also on the other verticals like autos and real estate, which are important verticals on Facebook Marketplace. We've had also instances when we introduced features or verticals for the first time outside the US.
Okay.
So it is not exclusive. It is more about launching in a market, learning what works, iterating, and then figuring out the plan for other markets, if the case.
Okay, thank you very much for sharing these points with us. Last question. We are the 1st of October in Paris. This is the Lengow Day. What did you learn today, meeting people here?
I've learned a great deal, both from meeting the people and from listening to some of the other presentations. And I think one of the interesting things is some of the common threads and common challenges that retailers and platforms alike are facing. One being how do we create a more seamless experience for users across online and offline channels, and how do we continue to bring together a path for them to be able to do that type of multi-channel shopping journey that for users is intuitive and desirable. It's now on to the retailers and to the commerce platforms to make their experience better. And second, it's the question of how do we make use of the richness of data that comes from e-commerce to really make a personalized shopping journey for the users. So it is also exciting to learn today about the new Lengow investments into insights and analytics that they're putting forward to their retailers. It's something I think that their customers will greatly benefit from.
Thank you very much, Albert, for all these comments. That's really, I'm really pleased to spend these few minutes with you. So thank you again for sharing this testimonial with us. Thank you to all. Yeah, thanks a lot. Thank you to all of you who are listening. The Digital Doers. You are more and more so day after day. So that's really positive for me. If you like this podcast, please not hit 5 stars on Apple Podcast and share the link around you. That's the best way to for people to discover the Digital Doers. Thanks again. And if you want to contact me or leave me a message, please go on thedigitaldoers.com. Thank you. Bye-bye.